Bees. You know them and love them or hate them, but either way, bees are about more than just stings or even making honey. Bees are in fact crucial pollinators. They carry pollen from flower to flower, from the male part of a flower to the female part of a flower, which is what allows vegetation to reproduce. Bees in fact pollinate 1/3 of the food we eat, which makes them crucial for our food supply and something that we should all care about. But pollination isn't just limited to honeybees. There are in fact thousands of species of wild bee nationwide, including hundreds right here in Minnesota, including bumblebees, leafcutter bees, mason bees, and many, many more. And not all pollinators are even bees. Minnesota has many that just aren't, including some species of butterfly, some species of beetle, hoverflies or flower flies, and a plethora of other insect species. You can find many of these life-sustaining pollinators in your backyard or garden right here in Maple Grove. But you often won't find as many as you'd like, or as many as we need, because pollinators face a number of growing threats that have hit their populations hard, especially in recent years, including parasites, pests, and disease, pesticide applications, and the biggest one of all, habitat loss. These insects are crucial. We really, really need them. But because they're facing these threats, they need help. Here's what you can do to play a part.
There are some best management practices that Maple Grove can implement on all of their city lands. Best management practices are land management techniques that have the pollinator's best interest in mind. Best management practices include planting many varieties of native wildflowers and grasses in any areas with vegetation, such as rain gardens and landscaping. Make sure to include species that will bloom at different times as to provide food and energy for pollinators all year. Reduce all mowing activities as this destroys pollinator habitat and food sources. Reduce pesticide use. Do not disturb areas where pollinators nest, and also provide nesting areas with tall grasses and any fallen trees. Establish and maintain pollinator habitats on roadsides, and manage city parks for pollinator-friendly habitats as well. To implement these best management practices, Maple Grove should provide funding opportunities for landowners and homeowners to establish pollinator habitat on their lands. They need to write and propose pollinator protection laws for their city lands, collaborate with universities or organizations that protect pollinator species, establish land management plans that use pollinator BMPs, and educate and communicate with the public.
Using roadsides and other marginal areas are great ways to restore pollinator habitat. Roadsides make up a large area in Maple Grove, but are often planted with turf grasses that require mowing frequently. This is costly to the city of Maple Grove, but can be negated from planting native grasses and wildflowers for new pollinator habitat. New roadside habitats will provide places for nesting as well as an abundance of floral resources necessary for pollinators. Some examples of native wildflowers in Minnesota that can be planted to increase pollinators are blazing star, prairie clover, aster, goldenrod, and milkweed. Some native grasses to include in pollinators' habitats are prairie June grass, little bluestem, and Indian grass. These are just a few examples of native plants that are great for new pollinators, but having a variety of species that bloom at different times throughout the spring, summer, and fall seasons provide food all year round for different types of pollinators. Roadside pollinator habitats require less mowing and maintenance, which can save the city time and money, but also makes the landscape aesthetically appealing to people driving by. Using roadsides has shown to increase the abundance of pollinators and will provide them with a refuge from the green landscapes that make up much of the landscape in Minnesota.